Let's bring in Adegboruwa. We'll still look at some other legal issues, but again, that's another sore point in terms of security, which we also, encountered in the year, and it has to do with shite, and how well we handled that is, something that many rights activists like yourself have also been talking about. Shite's movement in Kaduna State and what we saw with the police and with the military, and what has been happening even within the judiciary concerning that particular matter. Would you say it was, an okay point for us as a people?
Well, I think we're just addressing the issue, and with due respect to Mr. Femi Adesina, the Constitution says clearly that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Any government that cannot guarantee security of its people, their properties, has no right being in governance. In this country, as we sit here now, we have never seen it in terms of violence, in terms of threat to lives and property, because you cannot isolate Sambisa Forest and be lifting up hands to celebrate, even though I agree that some pockets of successes have been recorded in that regard. But you know what is happening as we sit here in southern Kaduna? There's an alleged genocide that's going on there. You know what is happening in Benue State. You know what happened in Southeast States during the celebration of the Biafra. We have never seen it in this state now that our people are so unsafe. The place everywhere is so divided. And in this country now, the military has taken over the life of civilians. What the regular police will do is what the military, everywhere you go now, you see the military. Even for elections, we have to call in the military, which is not regular. And that's why you see what you saw what happened in Kaduna during the period of the clash between the Chief of Army Staff and the Shiites, where, according to the report of Amnesty International, over 3,500 people were killed. But at least by the admission and confession of the Kaduna State government itself, at least 350 people. So I think that, for me, this government has endangered our life more than we have seen in past administrations. And you cannot use the isolated case of Sambisa to be celebrating success in respect of security. And if you come to Sambisa issue, look, as we are here, the only thing we see is people handing over flags and Quran. And then thereafter, somebody came out with a video and said, I'm alive, and we're well. So really, we must be discerning. Why we commend the government for the gallant efforts, especially those of our soldiers. But when I go to the social media and see that soldiers are crying for water, ordinary pure water, and they are weeping. And these are the same things that happened in the previous government, and we say we're in government of change. So as far as I'm concerned, we have not had a situation whereby it's so difficult. Look at all over in the cities. People have not traveled to the villages because of fear. So I don't agree that this government has recorded tremendous success in terms of guaranteeing security of lives and property. In fact, it's never been this worse.
So, Mr. Femi Adesina, if you can weigh in on this conversation, Mr. Adegboruwa has basically thrown out an accusation that this administration has not really shown an all-out sincerity in terms of securing the people. Do you want to comment on this?
Yes, I have known Adegboruwa since his days in the then University of Ife. No, it was already OAU then. I knew him. And I'm quite familiar with his position, what he says about this government, what he writes. I read his Facebook postings. In a country of 180 million people, you can't expect everybody to think the same way. There will always be critics. There will always be people who hold different opinions. So Mr. Adegboruwa has a right to his opinion. But whether the greater number of Nigerians will agree with him, I don't think so. I don't think so. In fact, a lot of people will see him as cavilling, finding fault unnecessarily, because maybe he has his opinion about the government. He has a right to that opinion, but it doesn't change the truth. The truth is that Nigeria is a lot safer than it has ever been. Cast your mind back to May 2000 2015 when this government came into power, did you have that feeling of a future for Nigeria? Nigeria seemed ready to burst apart at the seams anytime then, because there was insecurity everywhere. But gradually and persistently and methodically, this government attacked that security problem. And the country is a lot safer. He said a lot of people didn't travel to their villages. It's not true. It's not true. I wish you could be scientific and give us statistics. But what we see from the motor parks, what we hear from Federal Road Safety Commission and all that, shows us that there was a lot of influx from the cities to the villages. People traveled, and they are about returning. So I don't agree with Mr. Adegburuwa, but he has a right to his opinion.
But Mr. Additional, you will agree that we have a heavier presence of security now. And so it seems as if Nigerians are fighting against this. This is not what we're used to. It's a democracy, not a military era. So why do we have a heavier presence of military in states and in communities where otherwise they wouldn't be?
Yes, head or tail, you never win with some people. Because if military was not deployed, they will say, oh, the commander-in-chief is there. He sees that they are killing people. He says there is alleged genocide somewhere, and he didn't deploy the military. And if he deploys the military, again, they will say, oh, military everywhere. You never win with some people. But the government, particularly the president, will do all that is right at any given time.
You know, I think I'm tempted to stay on with you on this because for Adegburuwa, he also mentioned the killings and he used the word, he said alleged ethnic cleansing. I recall the last time, also in the year, you were with us on Sunrise Daily, you did say that the president it doesn't have to talk about everything within states, but now that he's brought this to the fore, again, let's hear from you what the presidency is thinking on that allegation of ethnic cleansing, especially in southern Kaduna State.
Yes, you know that the military cannot be deployed except it has the buy-in of the commander-in-chief. Even the police that is deployed is still a federal institution. So the fact that you have all those security agencies in southern Kaduna and in Kaduna State generally, and they are federal institutions, it shows you that the federal government is fully involved with what is going on there. Action speaks louder than words. That is something we need to understand about President Muhammadu Buhari.
I bring it back to the Lagos studios for Fatai Owosheni. 2016, you did say saw a kind of renewed improvement in technology in the fight against crime. Perhaps let's talk about one big story Nigerians woke up to, and it has to do with someone, your men, arrested and extracted some confessional statement from with the intention of blowing up the third mainland bridge. That is one beautiful yet ugly news that came to the people. Beautiful because they didn't do that, but ugly because the intention to do that was there. Take us through the discovery of that gentleman, or the arrest of that gentleman.
The arrest of that fellow still speaks to the fact that I started with, that somehow, by and large, there has been tremendous improvement. By and large, we've been able to deploy the technical platform to manage crimes very well. And of course, if I want to tie it to the question as to military being deployed as well, what has been happening, it's just an evidence of more synergy among the security agencies. I just want to make a small comment on that. The society's dynamics, and of course, when you talk of crimes, management of security, the sophistication with which criminal elements commit crimes now are different. In those days, you probably see a criminal element taking a bicycle, just using a stick, to beat someone. But now they deploy GPMGs and whatever. And that probably explains why you have military intervention in some of these things. And of course, in doing that, we've been doing it all together in order to make sure that we work in synergy to get a result. The guy that was arrested, it's not the first time. You must have heard of so many times that security advisory will be given that terrorist elements are planning to infiltrate Lagos. So many things have been done like that, covert operations that we don't make noise about, because we also don't want people to get panicking that this actually happened. So at every point in time that they say they're coming out like that, that is what we've been doing. And of course, just also talking generally about what's been happening in the country, why I would say that we've seen tremendous improvement is that even the Boko Haram thing, it's been made in a way that the activities were contained to the northeast. If it's not been managed, it will spread to other places. And all other things that featured during the year, somehow they have also been managed in a way that at the end of the day, Nigerians or people that are affected still come out to say, oh yes, thank God that we have a government that is responsible.
We'll come back to everyone here, and when we return, we'll talk more on security, and specifically we'll also ask our legal practitioner here about one other issue that happened in the year 2016. That's the arrest of judges. It's somehow unprecedented. That's one other thing we'll be looking at when we return. You stay with us.
Tension is in the air at number 35 Forces Avenue in the old government reservation area in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Security officials, some members of the Rivers State Executive Council, House of Assembly and party officials led by the Rivers State Governor are gathered here. Governor Nyesom Wike says this is the aftermath of a failed attempt to arrest a High Court judge at what he describes as an ungodly hour.
So exactly 10 minutes after 1, we got here and we saw some security agencies and we said, what is going on? And they said that they were detailed to arrest a judge. And I said, it is never heard that by 1 a.m. after 1, you are here to arrest a judge when you could as well invite the judge. If you cannot read the judge, whoever the judge is, invite the judge to the chief judge. I said, okay, why not in the morning you invite the judge to come, whoever the judge is? And they insisted that by the order they have, that they are directed to pick the judge and bring the judge over.
The Commissioner of Police in the state appears not to be in the mood to talk. When he finally opens up, he says he's here as a peacemaker.
Came to resolve whatever is going on. I've told you privileged information. Go and interview the appropriate person and not me. I'm here as a peacemaker, please.
Although the identity of the judge in question is unknown for now, the exact intention of the security operatives regarding their action is also not clear. Emmanuel Erei, Channels Television News.
Well, that's another big one for the year 2016. We're now being joined by Wahab Shitu, another legal practitioner, making two of them here with us, looking at some of the legal matters. We still have Captain Omosigo here, and we'd like to thank CP Fatai Oshani, who's you know, they say duty calls. He has
all the time.
Yes, all the time. So he had to dash out now. What was still about 2016? Let's start off with Mr. Shitu on this. You saw that report. It was one report many kept on playing in their heads, in their minds, and even almost everyone decided to become, for the moment, lawyers in 2016, trying to see the legality or otherwise of that action by the DSS. How did it go for you when you saw that story this year?
Well, I think For me, I think, like all other stakeholders in the justice sector, it represents an unprecedented situation. It has never happened before in the history of this country that you find such a massive raid on the residence of judges. But that does not mean what has happened is not covered by legal provisions. I think I'm of the view, of the school of thought, that when you want to fight corruption, you must fight it within the context of respect for the rule of law. But in saying that, I'm also fortified by the view that we have a law, National Security Intelligence Agency. I think most commentators who are zeroing in on that action refuse to avert their minds. That legislation gives far-reaching powers to the president and even the DSS to act on any issue or any crime adjudged to contravene national security. We look at Section 2 and Section 3 of that Act. And if you also look at the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, it empowers the police.
I think, I'm sorry, I think we'll come back and look at the Act properly because I really have to do a quick one here. We'll take a moment, we'll return shortly. Stay with us.